Yeah, I got the SPF 90 for this. Hi. Are we live? Are we here? Are we good? Okay, good to see you. I got nothing. All of my topics have been talked about already, so thank you, Chris, for that, for your talk, and Big Daddy. So I'm just going to talk about recipes or meatloaf or I don't know what. It's nice to be home-ish within the general, in Canada. It is nice to be back for a bit. I'm going to kind of switch my topic a little bit just because Chris really summed up most of what I wanted to say as well, so ditto. That's all I've got. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Our marketing was awesome, tweet. And anyway, so I'm going to switch it a little bit into the ROI talk of social media and Twitter, just kind of give you my story because it hasn't been talked about enough by me 100 times and tweeted. I always get asked to talk about ROI. Like I just got back from, I don't even know where the hell I was, Arizona and Utah. As a matter of fact, India and England and the Yukon and all around the world. And people, the funny thing is I'm traveling around the world getting paid to speak and people look at me in the eye and say, well, what's the ROI of Twitter? I'm like, I'm standing here in India. Like, I don't get it. I'm like, you're a moron. So, here's my problem with the ROI argument. Like, running Unmarketing for nine years or so now, and not well, mind you. The first 7 years of Unmarketing was viral videos, making movies and videos, and nobody, not one client out of the 70 clients we had for making videos for, not one ever questioned what would the ROI be if people spread this video? What would the ROI be if people talked about our business to other people? Nobody ever said that question. Why? Because it's stupid. Yes? So why am I getting asked in the past 2 years, Scott, what is the ROI of social media where people will be talking about our company? You see the issue here. You're asking the question that we thought was stupid 2 years ago. Because if we just change the word social media to the word talking, we sound extra stupid. What's the ROI of talking, Scott? I don't get it. I don't understand the ROI of this talking thing. And I couldn't call it that because we have to call ourselves talking consultants. And what do? I help people talk. Online. Really? I've always been doing that. Yeah, but it's shorter on Twitter, so you need my help. So, we have a bunch of talking consultants running around the world, so it doesn't make any sense. But there's so many more things. I just wrote a post about this last week. There's so many more things we need to question the ROI about first, before social media. Before questioning the value of talking to our customers and our colleagues, we need to question things we're doing already at work, like, meetings. Just meetings. And then meetings about ROI of social media. Let's see, what else? Mugs. Like 3,000 of them in our warehouse with our logo on it. What else? Oh yeah, the management retreats that I get paid to speak at. Paying keynote speakers way too much money to come speak at our conference. Like, what's the ROI of that? I don't have a problem of questioning ROI. When you run a business, I think you should look at everything you do and whether or not there's a value to it. But let's not treat social media harsher than the moronic things we've been talking about and using for decades, if not a century or two. Like, we don't question it. We just know, right? To me, social media, I don't have to justify ROI to it, to me, and to all of you, because I'm preaching to the choir here. You just know talking to people makes sense. Like, nobody sits in their office and the phone rings and they just go, what the hell do I do now? And the boss stands there, Jeff, don't answer that. What's the ROI of you picking up the phone? I don't know, I haven't picked it up yet. I don't even know who it is. Well, until you can put together a report, you can't pick up that phone because a customer is phoning us. Customer phones us, we answer it. Customer emails us, we reply. But if they tweet, I don't know about the ROI of that. We have to stop. I really believe that 85% of the world is morons. Not you. Everybody else out there is morons, not you guys. And the problem is that we stop using common sense. Luckily for me, common sense ain't so common, or I wouldn't have a book or a company or a career or anything, because that's all I do. Somebody walks up to me and goes, your book's just common sense. I'm like, thank you. As I've strived, I've reached for the stars, and I've made it. But if you really want to talk about ROI, do you think that I would live on Twitter for 2.5 years if there wasn't an ROI? Like, I run a company, and to be perfectly honest and transparent and open to you guys, Twitter saved my business. Twitter saved my sanity and drove me insane. It really did. I'm not making this up. I've been running on marketing for 9 years now, but when the recession hit, as you all know, it hits everybody. Especially people who charge $10,000 for sushi motivational videos that go virally. People stopped buying them. And I didn't see it coming. I got cocky. I stopped doing my passion, which is this. I love this. This is what I want to do. This is what I love to do. And I stopped because I got cocky. We were the only company in the world that made videos. And this is before YouTube was out there making these videos. Now programs can do it for you instantly. They're just glorified slideshows. That's what we made. And I didn't realize until it was too late, like nobody's buying anymore. And the incubation cycle is very long for these type of projects and budgets. And I realized I was out of money. I was out of clients. The irony of running a marketing company and having no clients did not escape me. Jeez. Let me help market your company. I can't market mine, but I can market yours. It's amazing. It's like the social media guru with 12 followers. It just doesn't make any sense. Sorry. It had to be said. I'm sorry. And what I had done was I became the introverted extrovert. I just holed up in the home. I played 747 online matches of Halo, which is nothing wrong with that at all. Stratten is my gamer tag if you want to play. And I stopped. I stopped talking. That's what I did. And that is the worst move you guys can do with your business, for your business, is stop talking. To get so busy with busy work that you forget to talk. I mean that with other business owners, for your own sanity and for your own networking. Big Daddy's talking about that, getting out there, talking to people, meeting people. You've got to do that. You've got to talk and connect. And that's when I saw Twitter, I'm like, there's something here. Because I could talk and connect, but I could still sit my lazy ass on the couch and do it. But Twitter didn't work until I started to work in it. Like I joined in April 08 and just thought it was stupid. For like 8 months, somebody's like, I had tuna for lunch. I'm like, I had spaghetti. And I sent it out. Whee, this is awesome. And it was nothing. I dabbled on Twitter for 8 months. Then January 1st, 09, as a lot of you know, I lived on Twitter for 30 days, tweeted 7,000 times. And some people here, Forrest is here. Where's Forrest? There he's right there. Forrest came up to me before and he said, I followed you a while ago and I stopped following you because I thought you tweeted too damn much. I'm like, yes, I did. The problem is if you're only following like 12 people and I'm one of them, look out. It's my entire lunch menu every day for a long time. So I lived on there. So my ROI, and the problem is I never went on Twitter to get ROI. I didn't need to justify it. I got on there to get my water cooler, to find other business owners. Running a business, and back me up or correct me if I'm wrong, running a business is one of the most isolating things you can possibly do. If you run the show, if you're the head, it is very isolating. I can't turn to my assistant Karen and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. She totally knows that. Totally knows that. 100%. Her Twitter name's Scott's Boss, just so you know who's got the pants on in the family. That I needed the water cooler. I didn't have it, and I found it. And I found the smartest, the most supportive, caring, intelligent, funniest people I've ever found in my life. That means you, through Twitter. And they're there because they're people and we're talking. And you want to talk about ROI, if you do want to talk numbers, you can't walk into your boss's or client's office and walk and go, I want to go on Twitter for 40 hours a week. They're not going to justify it. They're going to just call it tweezer and close the door on you, or bookface, or whatever they're calling it these days. Every single penny of revenue in 2011 for my company, I can attribute to Twitter. Like, you want that? Stick that up the ROI people armpits. Give them that if you want, but it won't work if you just walk on there and say, hey, where's my money? Who wants to hire me? It's like walking into a networking event. I view Twitter as a networking event, but you just don't have to wear pants. It's amazing, the similarities. Don't talk about yourself all the time. Don't try to sell your stuff, and don't do it drunk. Same rules apply. Yes? Friends don't let friends on their phone after 8 p.m., by the way. It's just personal experience. So it's the same thing. So ROI is that, but my ROI is so much more. I've got a support network. I've got colleagues. I've got business partners. I can't see my best friend. She's here somewhere. Where's Allison? Are you here? There you are. She's hiding her head, but she's back there. Nami's Bra is my best friend I've ever had in my life. How else am I going to meet an owner of a nursing bra company? Knock on her door in Burlington. Hi. Here you make bras. What am I going to do? We started talking about, I'm just guessing you're right about there because I can't see you. We started talking about a lemonade stand. And you talk about how relationships can be really strong online and off, but they can also get kind of weird. She tweets out, hey, we got a lemonade stand. I hadn't met her yet. I'm like, hey, we should come by. And she's like, hey, yeah. And then we're like, this is getting a little weird now. Maybe I'm just going to say I can't make it. Forget it. I'll just PayPal her money for lemonade or something. So. And that's the thing. So there's a gray area that happens. So a bunch of us had gone to an event in Ottawa, and I took Via Rail, and I know one of the awesome people from Via is here right now, so I'll be careful. And I had an issue with one of the attendants on the train. She wasn't nice at all. And I paid for business class, so I was allowed to be snooty. And so I tweeted it. And while I'm on the train, Via tweets back and said, hey, I'm sorry, we'll make sure we take care of this. Like, it was amazing real-time customer service. And then I get off the train, and Allison was with me, and we get off the train, and we walk out of the gate, and there's a guy there with my Unmarketing book cover up on an iPad. I'm like, oh, Via Rail, you are good! He's like, hey, man, I'll take you to your hotel. I know you had a rough trip. I'm like, you guys are great. Get it in the car. Allison gets in the back, get in the front. I'm like, you guys do this all the time? Via's like, oh, I'm not with Via. Texting Allison in the back seat of the car. He's not with Via. Oh, really? No. I just saw your tweets and I figured you could use a ride. Isn't Twitter awesome? Roll! And I got to the event, and there's some people here that were there, and I just walked in. Hi. How you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Stay off Twitter. They can hear you. The guy's a good guy. He's really a good guy, but it was just this weird kind of boundary that I'm like, oh, okay. Scott's going to take a break from the old Twitter world for a little bit now. And that's one of the issues, other than creepy people, is that you can go too far into it. And people say, what have you learned and what has happened? I've tweeted almost 80,000 times. And now just over 100,000 followers. I get fancy Clout Squad t-shirts like this one, which moves the mic. And for me, it's all cool and fine and dandy, but the problem is you've got to have moderation, you've got to have focus. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned over a couple of years of literally living in that platform and other social media and virtual is that when you're there. When you're not, don't be. And what I mean by that is people said, well, if you go back, what would you do differently? One thing is I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have tweeted 7,000 times that January because it really affected me. It really affected my family. Like, it's not a joke. I really, I'm horizontally tweeting, which I still do in bed. You're like, okay, good night, baby. Good night, yeah. What? I'm saying good night to Twitter. What? Where are you going? She doesn't understand me. Does anybody know this? Right? That's what we do, right? I know you've horizontally tweeted, right? And you've twooped, which is toilet tweeting. I gotta finish soon. Okay, good. And so the issue was that I did it too much, and I really went really too hardcore for me on it, and it took a while to kind of scale back from it. I'm still conditioned for it. Like, I literally have my iPad open with TweetDeck, and then I'll check my BlackBerry on Twitter. Then I'll look at it, just look around for the camera. Then I'll look for the A&E intervention crew breaking in the door, which I'll totally tweet if they came in the door, by the way. They're here, abort. So you've got to be careful because, and I learned this when this last year, when it was my night to cook. So we went to Denny's, and I walked in. I left my phone in the car, and if you've done this before, you left your phone in the car. You know, you feel naked when you left your phone in the car. And I went in there, and so it was Owen and I. He's known as Un Junior in the digital world. He's just turned 10, and unfortunately, he's totally like me, which is scary for the world. And we sat down, and I'm like, "Oh, buddy, I forgot my phone in the car." He had no empathy on his face whatsoever either. I'm like, "I forgot my phone in the car. Can we go grab it?" And he's like, "Dad, can we just remember to forget it just for dinner?" I'm like, "Son of a me." And he's right. I'm a big deal on a fairly irrelevant social media site that falsely inflates my ego. Okay? I'm a fairly big deal on Twitter. I have the same clout level as Miley Cyrus. And being a big deal is not a big deal at all if I'm not a big deal at home. And I forgot that. And I was so busy being a big deal and going around the world that I forget that I need to value my time with them and I need to focus. So when I'm on Twitter, I'm on it. And when I'm off Twitter, I need to be off. And the problem is I've set a standard for myself. I've set a standard that I'm an idiot. I put in my book, tweet me. And now people are. "Oh, yeah, thank you. I know you like the book. Thanks." Shut up. You know, you get so busy, and I forget that. And the problem is, I had a guy in Amsterdam tweet and say, "Loved your book. It's my greatest, most favorite marketing book ever." And he tweeted at 2 a.m. my time. And then 4 hours later, he was calling me a fraud because I hadn't replied while I was sleeping. You set it up. You set yourself up for this. And for me, so I've got one rule I do now. I make sure my focus, my Pavlov dog's responses are all turned off. My phone is silent. The only thing that happens ever on my phone is the ringer if my son's school calls or home calls. That is it. I get no email, audio notification. It doesn't, okay? I realized I'm not that important. My son is. My girlfriend is. My friends are when I'm standing there talking to them. You know what this is called? The Greeks have a word for it. When you've got your phone and you're talking to somebody and you're doing this and you're still talking and then you do this. You know what the Greeks call it? An asshole. That's what they call it. Look at it. It's on Wikipedia. When you're talking to somebody, talk to them. When you're not, don't. If you don't like the conversation, fake a bathroom break and go on Twitter. I do it all the time. Just be present. Turn off the notifications. People are like, "Well, wait a second. What happens if you get an email?" Then I read it when I want to. What? Ludicrous. What happens if you get, I disabled Twitter emails. I get no email with a DM replies, unfollows or unfollows or anything. I get no Facebook messages, but I log in every single fricking day anyways. So I will see them. We're not that important. I'm not that important. And we're not that big of a deal that we can't be one when we're at home. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you for doing this event. Appreciate it.